Hey guys, what's up? Okay, so it's been a hot minute since I've been on YouTube. How the heck is everyone doing? I thought today I would talk about kind of where I've been and what I've been going through and my whole transition into a whole new life and all this. And I think it's a really great, inspiring video. So if you would please watch to the very end, like if you want, comment if you want, subscribe if you want, because I'm hoping that there will be more content coming in soon just for you guys. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, so anyway, so the last month and a half, almost 2 months, I have been working on myself and working on self-improvement and how I can get a better life for myself. If you hear music in the background, it's because I need music to be able to think. And what I've come up with in the last month and a half is that I, myself, Autumn, am a very toxic human being. Now, is that something you really want to admit to yourself? No, of course not. Does it suck hearing that? Obviously. Now, for those of you who don't know, I do suffer with borderline personality disorder. BPD is an emotional unstable personality disorder, so meaning I go through feeling a million emotions per second. My best analogy to describe it is if you look up in the country and you see all these stars, I can connect every single one of them and make it make sense. That's how I explain it the best. So I have borderline personality disorder. I also have bipolar disorder as well, which can be very conflicting to BPD as well. I do have dissociative disorder, so sometimes I lose track of reality, or like I'll black out and I'll not remember what happened to me or what I said or what I did, which plays a big toll in borderline personality disorder as well. I do suffer with PTSD, which is plays a huge toll on BPD as well. They have said that borderline personality disorder is linked to childhood trauma and childhood events that have traumatized you throughout your life. And then they develop into your system as an adult, and then they create a disorder. Is borderline personality disorder treatable? It's controversial, so yes and no. Is there a day where I might not have it? Possibly. That would be cool. Is it realistic? Possibly. I really don't know. All I know is that if you put in the work and you do what you gotta do to get yourself better, you will eventually get to a life where you don't need medication or you don't need to do DBT programs. What is DBT? Okay, so DBT is a program which in where I live, they call it STAT. And basically what it does is it takes people with borderline personality disorders and you talk about your childhood trauma, you talk about your emotions, how you control your emotions, your impulses, and why you have impulses. And it teaches you why you think this way. And why is that so important? Well, why is that so important is because it helps us understand why we think this way. I can't tell you the numerous amount of times that I've said to myself, why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why am I like this? When really I should be asking myself, and this is what DBT will teach me, is what am I gonna do about this? So instead of asking why, your brain's just gonna give you answers as to, well, you suck and you are the worst person ever and this and that. When really, if you ask your brain, which DBT will teach you, what can I do about this? Your brain will give you answers, well, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, and do this and do that. So it'll give you positive outlooks instead of a negative outlook. So that's what DBT does. There's a lot more to it as well, but that's a pretty much downward spiral of what DBT is. I will be taking the DBT STAT program here where I live in the next couple of weeks, and I'm very excited because it's been something that I've been waiting for a long time, and I'm finally going to be able to take the challenge. And it's a 6-week program, full time, so 8:30 to 4:30 Monday to Friday, and I'm excited. I'm excited because I didn't think this is how I would be at 23 years old. I didn't think I would be struggling like I do. I didn't think I would be, like I said, like from the beginning I said, I'm toxic. And the reason I'm toxic is because I don't know how to control my impulses. I don't know how to control my emotions, my feelings, or what I want to say or what I don't want to say. And I have such a hard time establishing what I can and cannot do. And that's so difficult. And then when I do something I don't want to do, I hold myself to an immense amount of guilt. And I find that very mind altering, very struggling, and can be very chaotic in my life. So what's the 6 weeks gonna look like? It's gonna be looking like a lot of self-improvement, a lot of hard times. They say that the first 2 weeks of DBT or STAT, if you want to call it that, is the hardest, because you are now looking face to face with everything that is wrong with you, everything that you do wrong or everything that you think is wrong. And it's hard. Like, nobody wants to admit to their faults. Nobody wants to admit and look at themselves in the mirror and be like, I'm a toxic person. Nobody wants that, right? I sure don't. And in my last couple weeks of self-reflection, I've discovered that, but I am. And here's why I am. I don't listen to when people talk. I listen with the intent of responding, when really listening is supposed to be the intent of listening. So when someone's talking to me about their feelings or saying, Autumn, I don't like when you do this, I'm so quick to be like, oh, well, that's rude, that really hurts my feelings, and now I'm triggered. When instead I should be like, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way. What can we do to improve your feeling of that way? Or what can I do to change so you don't feel that way anymore? You don't hear somebody out and you're so quick to comment back on their feelings and tell them, well, wow, you shouldn't feel that way. People are gonna now respond in the fact of, oh, well, I'm not gonna wanna talk to you anymore, or I'm not gonna wanna tell you my feelings anymore. So I'm gonna stuff my feelings and make sure that you don't hear my feelings anymore. Which isn't fair, especially when you're in relationships. Relationships are a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. And your partner is allowed to have feelings. And I think for myself, I don't allow my partner to have many feelings in the relationship, which can make things very difficult. I've definitely found this out in the last couple weeks when discussing with my ex-partners how I've been and how I've treated them. And it's not fair to them, and it's also not fair to those around me. I find that in relationships I do it more often than when I'm in by myself or if I'm with friends. If I'm with friends, I don't do it as often because I don't really carry friendships very well, because I'm so scared of people leaving me that I will leave them first, which is another toxic trait, is that I will self-sabotage myself. And what I mean by that is that I'll have something good in my life, okay? So like, for instance, my last relationship, was it something very positive? We had our ups and downs, but just like any relationship. But what I found in myself is that I would put myself in situations for that person to leave me, so I knew that they'd leave me. Does this make sense? I want them to leave me because then it would prove my brain right. My brain is telling me they're gonna leave you, they're gonna leave you, they're gonna leave you, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. So I'm gonna do things for them to leave me. So I'm like, I knew you were gonna leave me. And then towards the end, I will be like, I knew you were gonna leave me, this hurts me, this breaks me, blah, 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 which is a very toxic thing to do. And it's not fair to the other person. Why is that not fair to the other person? Well, because they don't deserve that, and because people are people at the end of the day. Regardless if they have BPD or not, they still have feelings. And just because I have a disorder, it doesn't make my feelings more important than theirs. So that's another thing that I've noticed in the last couple weeks that I do, that I definitely want to change. And I don't want to be a victim to myself, or I don't want to be a victim to others, or I don't want people to see me in that realm. Like, I don't want them to see me as that person, because I am so much more than that. So another thing that I self-realized in my last couple weeks is that I have very big impulses. With borderline personality disorder, impulsivity is such a high rate of what the disorder describes as. So, for instance, people with BPD tend to act on their impulses more than not. And the reason we act on our impulses more than not is because our irrational mind is like, yes, let's do this. And our rational mind sinks down, and you don't have any control of your rational mind. It's just your irrational mind thinking. Now, your rational mind knows better. Your rational mind's like, Autumn, don't do this. That's stupid. Your rational mind is, Autumn, do it because it makes sense. So I play a victim to my impulses, and I will act on my impulses. If that means spending money or talking to people I shouldn't be talking to or putting myself in dangerous situations, I will do so. Now, I find myself slowly realizing this, so I've started to take things out of my life that were impulses. So putting my money in a different account so I can't touch it, so I'm not spending it, or changing my phone number so people don't have my phone number anymore that I don't want to have my phone number, or when I'm out in public, not talking to random people because, well, first of all, why should I be talking to random people? Rational mind says, oh, I'm talking to random people is sometimes okay, but sometimes not. Rational mind says, talk to random people and see where it goes. Now, who should I listen to? Probably rational mind, right? Yes. So I've been definitely trying to learn how to take rational mind and use rational autumn in more aspects of my life other than just in my work atmosphere or so on. Because rational autumn is so important. Rational autumn makes sense. Rational autumn is right. Irrational autumn is not. So I need to remember that. So that's kind of where I've been the last couple months, is just trying to figure myself out. I really think my emotional breaking point, which most people need to have before they can change their life for the better, was when my partner broke up with me. And I realized, at first I was like, oh my God, screw him. He broke up with me. I'm so much better than him. He's never gonna find someone like me. And then Rational Autumn slowly started coming back, because Rational Autumn said, this is your breaking point. And it's been crazy. Like, I still have hard days, don't get me wrong. I still have hard days where I want to act on my impulses. I still have hard days where I don't want to listen to you and I don't care what you have to say because I'm going to attack you with what I have to feel, or with what I feel, I mean. But it's a learning curve, and it's something that takes time, and it's something that's difficult. You know, it's not easy. It's not going to happen overnight. People aren't going to trust you overnight. Like, trust takes time. You have to establish trust. It's not just given to you. You have to earn trust. And that's hard, you know? And I don't think people talk about it enough, is that trust is hard to earn. But once you earn it, then you know you've succeeded. So I'm willing to take the time for those around me to trust me and live an honest life. Live an honest life by listening, live an honest life by not acting out on my impulses, living an honest life in all realms of my life, because I want to one day beat this. Living with borderline personality disorder can be a hard thing. It's like battling a million things per second in your head. But it's not always going to be like that. And I think that's so difficult for me to understand, is that I don't have to live a life like this for the rest of my life. Is that this doesn't have to be my reality. That this doesn't have to be me 40 and alone because I can't hold a relationship. This could mean, this breaking point that I had could mean at 40 years old, I would have had kids. I would have been married for 15 years. And it could be everything I've ever wanted. And if I don't take this opportunity now to do it, then I'm never going to see the life that I want. So if you're struggling out there with this, take a piece of paper and write down, if I don't change my toxic traits, or if I don't change how I am today, what will this look like in 20 years? And then on another piece of paper, if I do change my toxic traits, what will my life look like in 20 years? And the reason I want you guys to do that is because it made me realize there's two different spectrums of my life. There's the life that I don't want to live, where I'm 40 years old, I'm alone, I'm miserable, I'm slowly growing into despair, where there's the other part of me in 20 years where I could be happily married and have children and have the house and be traveling the world and be living a life without medication and without a disorder. Now, what life sounds better? Well, this one. What life seems harder to do? This one. But guess what? Which one's going to be happier in the end? This one, not this one. Nobody wants to be living a life of constant despair. Nobody wants to be living a life alone with nobody around them, because nobody can handle who they are as a person. I know it's hard. It's difficult, and the ride is long, and the ride can be tough, and some days you're going to fall off the wagon, and some days you're going to need help, and some days you're going to want to give up. But you need to remember what you're holding on to. I'm holding on to that 20 years, at 40 years old. Where will my life be? I don't want it to be this life. I don't want it to be lived by irrational Autumn. I want it to be lived by rational Autumn, where she's happy, successful, and where she needs to be in her life. So, you guys, I really highly suggest that you do those two things. You write down on a piece of paper and just write. Write like there's no tomorrow. Write your full emotion. Nobody needs to read it. Nobody needs to know anything about it. Just read it. And write it and feel it. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope that this kind of makes sense of where I've been the last couple of months. And I hope this helps somebody out there. You're not alone when you live with BPD. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard for the rest of your life. It doesn't have to be this road of sadness. Take the time to see that you are worth something more than that. I wish you guys luck. I hope you guys the best. Like and subscribe if you want to. And I hope there's more content that I can make for you guys. So if you guys want to see more content, let me know what you guys want to see more of. If you want to have more of these talks, or if you want to have more heart-to-hearts, let me know down below. And I will see you guys soon. Okay, bye.